Okay, so Paige, it's awesome to be talking with you today. You have learned a lot, you have done a lot, and you have a lot to share about two important topics. Number one, it's Disability Awareness Month. The Americans with Disabilities Act was passed in July of 1990. So every July, there's an awareness that is brought to living with a disability. And it's also Chronic Disease Awareness Month. And those two things kind of go hand in hand. And, tell us about your life living with the condition that you have and some of the things you do to get through.
Yes. To add to that, last month was Scoliosis Awareness Month. So
Right.
it's really incredible to live in a world where we're acknowledging all these different conditions. And, for me, I look at my scoliosis more as a physical challenge than a disability because I am so fortunate to be able to do what I love every single day. Just to kind of backtrack for people who don't know who I am, as I was born in the Bronx, I started dancing at the age of 4. And initially, dance was something I did for fun. It was an after school activity, making friends, just really not thinking too deeply about it. It's funny, my mom actually put me into swimming and ice skating, and I really only loved to dance. And at the age of 10, I got the opportunity to play Clara in the Nutcracker. And that was
Wow.
really cool. And I went to a dance studio in Westchester. So it was predominantly white. And for me to be cast as Clara was really historical for the town of Pelham Manor. And my teacher, she didn't care what color I was. She
Yeah.
saw that I loved to dance and that I was focused and that I
Yeah.
could take directions at the age of 10, right? Um, and I think that was a turning point for me because I realized, wow, like someone believes in me other than my parents, right? But my teacher believes in me. And, I love this. So I think this is really a good time to like really buckle down and like focus even more. I didn't want to disappoint anyone. And when I was on stage, I just remember that feeling of just loving to be on the stage under the lights, just by myself, right? And telling a story. And that passion just continued. And I went on to dance in high school. I went to performing arts school, which was affiliated with Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater. So talk about like really in it now, right? Um,
Yeah.
Half of the day academics, and then the other half of the day you're in dance classes, 2 to 3 classes a day, just really like in it. And I was learning various different styles of dance, so not only ballet but African, modern, jazz. It was really intense but fulfilling. Um,
Did you have any pain in your body during that journey?
No, nothing. It was my freshman year, actually. I went in for a routine checkup, and the doctor asked me to bend over, and he was like, I see a slight curvature. Let's take you up to get an x-ray. And lo and behold, I'm looking at my x-ray, just like in shock because I had no pain, no issues. I can recall the only thing I used to complain about, my calves would often be sore. And the doctor said that was like growing pains or just maybe from dancing because we're
Yeah. Lots
using,
of activity. Yeah.
yeah, but no pain in my back, no pain in my neck, nothing. So as you can imagine, seeing my x-ray, and I'm what, 13 years old, and you're just like, wow, what's happening to me? Why is this happening to me? And my parents, after the appointment, they were like, you're not quite sure we want to have them operate on you, even though what we were seeing was a pretty severe curvature. Um, and, the surgeon respected that. And he said, well, what we can do is back bracing. And so I wore 2 back braces
Wow.
when I wasn't dancing. And
Oh my
that
goodness.
that was an intense transition because you're in high school, right? Who wants to be seen walking around with a back brace on? And there just came a moment where I had to be honest with myself and my peers and my teachers. This is what I'm going through. And I was so fortunate to have friends that were supportive, and a teacher and a director who also had scoliosis. Um,
That's incredible.
yep,
Wow.
the director of our dance program had scoliosis. And I
Incredible.
put two and two together because before my doctor's appointment, I didn't know I had it. Right.
Well,
So,
right.
but after finding that out, it was like, God, the universe really just set me up for success in that way because I had someone in the room who had gone through it. And yeah, for the next 4 years, I wore my back brace. When I wasn't dancing, I had to wear it during sleeping hours, which was extremely uncomfortable. Um, and the only time I felt free was during dance. And that's why I lead with the phrase dance is healing, because it really, in my life, has proven to be a healing um, resource and just something I know I can rely on when I'm overwhelmed or in my head, or believe it or not, when I'm in pain. Movement
Yeah.
can really transmute pain. Um,
Right.
and yeah, that's a little bit about my journey. After my diagnosis, I went on through college. I got into Ailey 2, which is the second company to Alvin Ailey, and they only picked 12 students from the school. And
Congratulations.
thank you. That was
Awesome.
my first professional job. And I got to travel throughout the US and internationally. Um, And after that, I moved to Chicago, Illinois, where I danced with a company called Visceral and Deeply Rooted. And I lived in Chicago for about 6 years. And then my phone rang with the job of my dreams, The Lion King, which I had been auditioning for several years. And it's one of those things, it's such a good job, people don't leave. So there often aren't any positions.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember after my sixth or seventh audition, I got the phone.
Wow.
Yes.
So, Paige, so many things strike me in this conversation. Number one, you've been a trailblazer since the age of 10, just breaking barriers and proving what's possible in so many dimensions, not only by being the first Black Clara in a dance company as a young girl, but then persevering through with a scoliosis diagnosis to continue to be a dancer. Um, and just that story alone of just repeated audition, rejection, and you finally get the dream job. Wow, you've had a whole lifetime of perseverance, not taking no, and just chasing after what's possible. And that is so inspiring and amazing, which is, all the reason why talking with you today about Chronic Disease Month, Disability Awareness Month is so important to get the messages out of don't give up and
Yeah.
find a way, right? Find a path. There's lots of scientific evidence out there to underscore the importance of movement to managing pain. And ironically, when things hurt, you just want to lay down. And sometimes that's the right thing to do. Sometimes you do need to rest something if there's like an acute flare up, and that's true. But staying in movement, staying in motion is one of the best ways to manage and live with a chronic condition. For sure, in the arthritis universe, there are the arthritis appropriate evidence based interventions, which is a long way of saying there is scientific evidence that demonstrates even simple walking helps reduce the amount of pain that people have from chronic osteoarthritis. And a lot of times with scoliosis, there can be arthritis that comes along with that. So it's just not a surprise that movement for you is not only a job, it's not only a joy, it's also healing. Not
Yes.
surprised by that. And so, one of the things that we're so impressed with, you're an ambassador with the National Spine Health Foundation. We love that, having your support and your collaboration with us. One of the things that we love that you do is you teach others about the importance of spinal alignment and paying attention to your spine and how to exercise it to stay strong and to stay out of a disability situation.
Right.
So Paige, talk to us a little bit. Last month you were doing your spine series. Tell our audience a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the spine series came about actually during the pandemic. We were all forced to stay indoors, and I remember just feeling very achy and restless in a way. And after a while, it's like, yes, whoo, we get to rest, we get to just be still. But with scoliosis, that is not always, as you said, the best route to take, because things just start to get very stiff, very tight. And in my body, that actually causes pain. So I was like, how can I just keep inspired and motivated during this time where we're trapped indoors and I can't go take a yoga class and I can't go take a ballet class? Like, what else can I do? And I started reaching out to other trained professionals that have scoliosis or that have just studied, in more somatic, Shroth, gyrotonic, yoga for scoliosis. People had just been studied and certified in those different modalities. And I was like, why don't I open this up to others? Because it had proven to be really helpful for me. The one-on-one sessions with several people, and just I was able to take notes and see what was working for me. Also, just recording myself as I was doing some of the exercises so I could see how my spine was responding, because the thing with scoliosis, it's not just left to right, there's also the rotation, right? It's
Right.
a very complicated situation, and everyone's curvature is different. So, being able to record myself during the sessions to see how certain breathing exercises were helping to elongate or derotate, or alleviate pressure on the joints. And I was like, man, this would be really cool to offer to the public. And I pitched the idea to Lesma Fraser, who is my aunt, and the founder of the Paige Fraser Foundation. And she and the board agreed that this could be something we offer once a year to the community, of course, specifically for those with scoliosis, but anyone who had any kind of back pain, chronic pain, can benefit from this. And right away, we created the promo. I hired some of the people that I had sessions with. Some of them are located in London and Amsterdam, and
Wow.
we set up the session virtually. And our first year of offering it, we saw participants from all over the world. And I was in
Amazing.
shock because it's just amazing to see how many people are in the scoliosis community and how many of them are seeking community and information.
Yeah.
And in the chat box, a lot of people were saying they have chronic pain and their scoliosis has developed into arthritis, or they have sciatica. So I was really excited to be able to connect them with these educators, so that they could also, after the Spine Series program, continue to train and study with them. So that's what's so beautiful about the Spine Series. We're not gatekeeping it, right? After the
Right.
session, you then now have built a relationship with these teachers who have spent years studying the spine, studying breath work, and studying different strengthening exercises that can really help when you have a curvature.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that the amazing thing about that I love is that it is connectivity and community building for a scoliosis community, but you take it beyond that. And that I think is what's just so amazing about it is that, you know, everybody needs to think about caring for their spine because your spine carries you through life and you might have scoliosis, you might have some disc degeneration. We're all going to have some kind of degradation of our spine over time. And those skills that scoliosis people learn for strengthening and maintaining alignment of their spine are good skills for everyone to have. And I think that's just another just beautiful extension of what you do because so many people do live with chronic pain in their back without having a diagnosis of scoliosis per se. But these conditions kind of, they intermingle in so many cases. So I think that's just awesome. And I think the more that we can get on platforms like this, raise awareness of the importance of spine health, raise awareness of the importance of caring for your spine, and what to do if you have a problem with your spine is just beneficial to everybody. So I just applaud you so much for that. And again, trailblazing, really trailblazing work, and to take your experience and share that so others can benefit from what you've learned is really awesome. Paige, you were able to treat your scoliosis with bracing. Some people have to have surgery. What can you help people understand what that difference was for you? And are you done with that decision making? Does it continue to change? And is it something you have to keep thinking about?
Yeah, I do want to add, in addition to the back bracing, I also saw a chiropractor regularly while I was still growing because I was a very late bloomer. So at 13, I looked like I was 10, like I was very small. And I think a combo of that as well as dance, right? The
Yeah, dance itself. Yeah.
Yeah, starting with dance at such a young age. And, even without scoliosis in dance, you are fixing your posture constantly, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's a sense of just Schroth, that approach that I was doing naturally, because
Hmm.
once I learned my curve, I said, okay, gravity's pulling me this way. So I need to be more focused on being over here, So I really think all of those things, but I do understand. And I've also thought about it and processed it, with scoliosis, surgery is oftentimes a requirement, right? You know,
Yeah.
I've met many people who have had the surgery, dancers. I do know a few dancers who have had the surgery. Um, and they have been able to have full careers. I know two dancers who are on Broadway who had the surgery.
Wow.
And again, I think it just is a testament to they knew what they wanted to do in life, and
Yeah.
all they focused on. They saw the roadblock, they addressed it, and they kept moving forward, right?
Yeah.
That's life.
Right.
And in the back of my mind, I always say, sometimes there can be something that triggers your spine, and you might need surgery, Paige, right? That is a reality that I have processed. And I'm very grateful that if that were to ever be the case, I have people, I have a community. And I think that's the most important thing when you're going through something like this, is to not isolate yourself and not
Absolutely.
shame yourself, because
Right.
there's so many people dealing with this.
Yeah.
And we all have had to deal with it in different ways. So you can
Yeah.
learn everyone's story, and hopefully feel inspired
Yeah.
and grounded when you have to make certain decisions.
Right.
And I think also, you know, we all have to really just listen to our body and be honest with ourselves. And I'm thankful that, I was diagnosed at such a young age. And I'm grateful that I took the route I did. Do I still have scoliosis? Yes. Does it create complications? Yes, there's days where my low back is extremely tight and I have to wake up early and do my yoga and do, there's things that I have to work into my day. So there really isn't an easy way out of this,
Right.
you know?
And you're in the Lion King. So not
Yeah,
only are you dancing, you're also
with puppets
carrying.
on. Yep.
How
Yeah.
much do those things weigh, Paige?
They vary. They vary,
Okay.
but they're not light. Right?
Okay.
And even someone without scoliosis is like they
Yeah.
feel, so can
Yeah.
you imagine
Yeah.
scoliosis?
And
And
how many days a week, how many performances do you do a week now?
we do 8 shows a week with 1 day off. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So again, it's like even if I had had the surgery, right? And
Yeah.
I got a straighter looking spine, the work would still need to be done. And
Oh
that
yeah,
was
for
getting
sure.
it's like whether or not you get the surgery, you have to accept that scoliosis, this is now part of who you are.
Part of who you are.
And
Yeah.
life actually feels better and lighter when you come to that realization.
Yeah.
And you figure out, okay, if I'm going to get the surgery, this also still means I need to live an active lifestyle,
That's right.
and if you don't get the surgery, you have to be even more conscious and aware, because
Right.
gravity is doing what it's doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the best advice I could give someone with scoliosis is really just taking ownership over it, not allowing it to weigh you down and make you sad. But just really just standing in it and figuring out what it is you need to do and staying in community.
Staying in community. I love that advice. There is community out here. We are here to provide support and information and all the good vibes to people. And we just want to get that message out there. So thank you so much for being a voice in that. This is just awesome. Trailblazing with Paige Fraser. I mean, nobody would look at you and think you live with a chronic condition, you live with a disability, you live with something you have to manage. Not in a million years are you the face of that, and yet you are. And that I think is the beautiful message that we're conveying today is that it doesn't look a certain way.
Right.
And everyone's journey is their own journey. And find help in community to find a way to do what you want to do. Don't let your condition stop you from living the life you want to live.
Yes. Oh, that's beautiful.
Well, you are an amazing example of showing how to do that. So we thank you for sharing your story with us and your time with us. And we thank you for helping get our messages out to your community and your network and likewise here. So I'm just waiting for the day when I can get to New York City and watch you on Broadway. That's in my future.
Yes, I can't wait to meet you in person as well. And thank you to the Spine Health Foundation for being so supportive, providing a platform. These conversations are important because, again, the world is moving so quickly. And I think people forget to the beauty that comes from having conversation and not just emailing and texting,
Right.
Hopefully this reaches the right person at the right time and they know that they're not alone. So, yes.
Thank you, Paige. You're amazing. Yay, this is so good.